It's killer raps, we got the hottest staff. In '03, I made a dynasty like Robert Kraft.
5 takeaways from Week 13. Number 1. Aaron Rodgers still owns the Chicago Bears. It doesn't matter the situation. It doesn't matter what's going on. I don't care how bad the Packers are playing, how good the Bears are playing. Aaron Rodgers just has a knack for putting foot to ass to the Chicago Bears. Bears were up 19-10 for the most part in this game. I'm looking at this like, hey, they might take this home. Then what happens? Rodgers strikes the young kid. I told y'all, Christian Watson, North Dakota State. I told y'all he was a dog. Coming into this season, everybody was ranting and raving about how Allen Lazard could take that next step and develop into the number 1. No, I told you guys Christian Watson was going to be the guy. Now look at what he's done over the course of the last 3 to 4 weeks. Christian Watson has been the answer. He's the reason. He's the solution, right? Whether Aaron Rodgers stays or not, I think Christian Watson would be a dog. But whether the Bears stink or not, look. Devo say the Bears is always asked, look, man, whether the Bears stink or not, Aaron Rodgers has their number on speed dial. What's understood don't need to be explained. Like, this game meant so much for Aaron Rodgers because not only did he increase his record, Aaron Rodgers is now 25-5 against the Bears, but also the Chicago Bears have not won a game against Green Bay since 2018, man. That's like 5 seasons. But also, Aaron Rodgers, with this win on Sunday, puts the Green Bay Packers as the most winningest team in NFL history. They have the most wins in league history, previously held by the Chicago Bears. So it's like a push and pull type of thing. Not only has he been putting foot to ass for over a decade, but now, because the Bears franchise has been around for so long, they were able to gather up so many wins. Aaron Rodgers beating the Bears in more than one ways on Sunday. 1, putting foot to ass, increasing his record to 25-5 against the Chicago Bears. 2, putting foot to ass and making the Green Bay Packers the most winningest franchise in NFL history. And 3, making it so the Chicago Bears have not beat them since 2018. That's a streak that needs to be broken like ASAP. And I'm a dude that's from Chicago, right? I hate to see it, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm one of those guys that looks at it like out of the corner of my eye. Yeah, I keep tabs. I'm an Eagles fan, but I keep tabs on the Bears. You know, I like to see them, you know, do right. But it is what it is, right? Number 2. Hey, I hear a lot of people calling Joe Burrow Joe Cool now. I need to know, is it acceptable for him to don that nickname Joe Cool? Because that's prestigiously known and owned by one of the all-time greats in Joe Montana. But look, he's starting to play like an all-time great. Joe Burrow is him. Joe Burrow is a dog. And if you want to talk about somebody that also has somebody else's number, he's got the best quarterbacks in the league, the best quarterback in the league's number in Patrick Mahomes on speed dial. You want to know Patrick Mahomes' number? Ask Joe Burrow. He beat him 3 consecutive times within the past 12 months. Impressive. A lot of guys can't say that. The only people that are undefeated against Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. And that's elite company, man. People saying Joe Shiesty. You like that nickname, Joe Shiesty? I done heard Joe Burr. Joe Brr. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done heard a lot of them. So I like Joe Cool, man. I want to hear from Joe Montana if it's acceptable for him to hand off that nickname to Joe Burrow and let him continue on the tradition, because I like Joe Cool for him, and I'm going to start calling him Joe Cool. I like that because that fourth quarter comeback, he played spectacular in the fourth quarter. You know, Joe Burrow has played spectacular all season, even though he started off a little bit shaky early on. He caught his drift. Inconsistent with health. Guys are in and out of the lineup all season. T. Higgins was banged up. Jamar Chase missed 4 to 5, 6 weeks. Guys were banged up. Joe Mixon is out right now. Offensive line in and out. Still inconsistent with health all the way across the board except him, defensively as well. But on the year, Joe Burrow still over 3,400 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's completing 69% of his passes. And he has the Cincinnati Bengals sitting at 8-4. Shout out to Joe Burrow. He's on pace to throw for over 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. Easy. Joe Burrow's a straight dog. And if anybody deserves that Joe Cool moniker, if anybody deserves that Joe Cool nickname, it's definitely Joe Burrow. Shout out to Joe Burrow. Shout out to them Cincinnati Bengals, man. They rolling right now. Got both of his top receivers in my fantasy draft. Yeah, man, I got Jamar Chase because he's my favorite player in the league. I wish I would have grabbed T. Higgins, man. Like, real talk. Like, T. Higgins is such a dog, man. T. Higgins out of Clemson, he's an animal, man. He's definitely an animal. But yeah, number 3. The Eagles are so dominant that a lot of you guys are waiting on the day that we take another L, but I don't think it's coming this year. I think we sweep the table for the remainder of the season, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason why the Philadelphia Eagles are so dominant is simply because of the variation of ways that we can beat you. I'm sick of having to repeat myself over and over when it comes to this. Ladies and gentlemen, the NFL is a game of inches, and it's not about who has the biggest weapon or who has the biggest blade. It's about whose blade causes the most damage. And if I got a Swiss Army knife, which is what the Philadelphia Eagles are, I'm in good company. Look, I've seen games where we've beat you on the ground like we did Green Bay. They couldn't stop the run. We put up over 200 some odd yards on them. I've seen games like against Tennessee where Jalen Hurts. What did Hurts do? Hurts goes 29 of 39 for 380 yards and 4 total touchdowns in this game. Every time I've seen Jalen Hurts go for over 100 yards in the first quarter on the ground rushing, right? I've seen Miles Sanders get $150 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. So it's like every single time the Philadelphia Eagles find a way to beat somebody, they say, oh, that's who they are. We can pinpoint that. That's who they are. No, that's not who we are. We've seen games like early in the season, our defense struggled against Detroit. We found a way to come back and make it happen. So it's like we've won in so many different ways, so many variations of ways, and that's what makes the Philadelphia Eagles so dangerous, the most dangerous team in the NFL. A lot of these teams are so dependent on one guy. Like if Derrick Henry isn't successful, the Tennessee Titans put up 10 points, right? If Josh Allen throws red zone picks, chances are the Buffalo Bills are probably going to lose. I've seen Jalen throw a couple of picks and we still win. Why? Because we can lean on our defense. We can lean on our running game. We can lean on passing ability when we need to. Whatever your weakness is, we can target that and take advantage of it. And that's why I love this team. I'm telling you, watch out because this team is going places this season. A.J. Brown had a revenge game. So much of a revenge game that it got the general manager fired. What's his name? The general manager, John Robinson, lost his job after A.J. Brown goes 8 for 129 or 8 for 119 and 2 touchdowns. It's crazy. Lost his job on the spot. And the Tennessee Titans are 7-5. The Tennessee Titans are 7-5. They have a positive record above 500, playoff contenders, and they lose their general manager mid-season because they looked at the way A.J. Brown took off and said, look, somebody got to go because of this. Treylon Burks, we love you, but somebody got to get a butt cutting because of this. And they cut the general manager, John Robinson. Man, I hope you find another job. But little did you know, Treylon Burks, he's cool, but he ain't no A.J. Brown, baby. A.J. Brown ripped y'all a new asshole, and I loved watching every bit of it because A.J. Brown was a guy that wanted to stay. He wanted to be in Tennessee. And what type of free agents are Tennessee pulling in? Let's be real talk. Tennessee is not a destination where guys are dying to play in. He wanted to be there. So why would you let a guy that wants to be there walk? It's crazy to me, but I'm glad they did. We got our hands on him, and we love every bit of some A.J. Brown. He literally changed life in Philadelphia, no doubt about it. Is Jalen Hurts in the lead for the MVP, or is it neck and neck with Patrick Mahomes? I think it's neck and neck. The voters might lean more towards Patrick Mahomes than Jalen Hurts because he's prettier. So we'll know. JC the Truth. Yes, sir. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's get it. You already know. Who you think going to the Super Bowl? My preseason pick was Buccaneers and Broncos, and then I had Eagles and Broncos. I was big on the Broncos. They are Gabricio. I take everything I ever said back positive about that team because it seems like Russell Wilson don't even give a damn. But that's neither here nor there. That's another story. But anyway, number 4. The Giants and the Commanders had the nerve to come out here on Sunday and tie. They tied. Ties are so pointless and irrelevant to the NFL. Why? Why I say that? Why do I think ties are so pointless and irrelevant? First of all, you played a 60-minute ball game that had no end result. The end result was the same way it began. 0-0, it ended 0-0. You guys sweated dick and balls for 60 minutes for no reason. Secondly, it doesn't serve the purpose that it's supposed to serve, right? When a team has a tie on their record, I feel like it should be deemed in a negative aspect. But let's say you win a division with a team that's 7-4-1 and the other team is 7-5. Guess what? The 7-4-1 team would be placed higher in the ranking than that 7-5 team simply because the 7-4-1 team has less losses than the 7-5 team. So having that tie actually works in the favor of the Giants and in the favor of the Washington Redskins or Washington Commanders when it comes to the rankings in this division, right? So if the Cowboys end up in a slump or whatever the case may be, and one of these teams pull away and start winning, it could be very detrimental to how the division shapes out simply because of that one tie. That's why I think ties are pointless. Ties are stupid. The NFL needs to do something about it. What's the point of a tie? It doesn't solve anything. They tied just to say they were at the bottom of their own division. Look, even with Jimmy out, I feel like no one is going to stop the 49ers at this point, even with Jimmy out. That's tough. That's tough. Is your Eagles an accident waiting to happen? Don't wish that on. Look, we need health on our side. We definitely need health on our side. But while we're on the subject of the New York Giants, man, I want to talk about them for a second. Daniel Jones, I can't put my finger on why the New York Giants have been as successful as they've been as of late. Daniel Jones is an average quarterback in the NFL. He's played better than he normally's played in years past, but let's face it, Daniel Jones is an average quarterback in the NFL, right? The offensive line might be below average. The running game is the best aspect of this team. The defense, everything else is middle of the pack with the New York Giants. Why do they have 7 wins? Why have they been so productive? I attribute that to one thing and one thing only, and that's Brian Daboll. I'm on record stating this over and over and over for upwards of a decade. Coaching is the most underrated aspect of sports in general, not just NFL. Sports in general. Coaching is the most underrated aspect of sports in general. Penalties are down from a year ago. This team looks more disciplined, right? It seems like Brian Daboll is squeezing the life out of every ounce of talent on this roster because I don't see too much of it. Where are the playmakers on offense besides Saquon Barkley? Daniel Jones looks better. Saquon looks better. The offensive line is shaky. The defense, same thing. Where is this production coming from? Like I said, I can only attribute that to one thing. If I can't put my finger on why a team is having success, I have to look at the coaching staff and say, okay, this is the difference maker right here. Coaching is the most underrated aspect of sports, and I don't think they get enough respect. I hate when people say coaching doesn't matter when it really does. No doubt about it. Hey, do you think my Cowboys are top 3 teams in the league? We can sit down and have a conversation about it. Top 5 for sure, though. But, yes, coaching is the most underrated aspect of sports, entertainment in general. Like, if the leader can't lead, how do you expect the troops to perform? Daniel Jones is playing serviceable football, right? He's taking better care of it. I think Daniel Jones on the season, he's completing 66% of his passes. That's a career high. Over 2,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He had a career high 19 fumbles in his rookie season. He's got 4 fumbles this year. Still an issue for Daniel Jones, but at the end of the day, these guys are 7-4-1, and they are in playoff contention. Quick turnaround, man. Coaching is the most underrated aspect of sports entertainment, period. Number 5, Deshaun Watson looked like shit in his debut. Why did Deshaun Watson look like shit in his debut, right? The defense completely bailed this team out, right? They came to play, and we could also attribute that to the fact that Houston is terrible. Houston is one of the worst run organizations. I feel so sorry for Lovie Smith, who got fired on a 10-6 record with the Chicago Bears. They stuck that man with the bad, terrible, I can't even find bad terms to describe the Houston Texans right now, but they are ass. But thankfully, because they're so garbage, the Browns were still able to pull this out. But Deshaun Watson looked nasty, man. Deshaun Watson didn't only look like a guy that hadn't played in over 2 years, but he also looked like a college quarterback. Like in his first start, a freshman college quarterback in his first start. Guys were open. He's throwing it in the dirt, hitting guys at their feet, overthrowing guys. Like, the man looks like he forgot how to play the quarterback position. And I'm just sitting over here like, man, this is the guy you guys paid $250 million guaranteed to. He better get his shit together. Now, I know it's his first time out there in a minute, so I'm going to pump the brakes because I'm going to give him some time because I like Deshaun Watson. I do. It could have been tempers flaring. It could have been emotions, right? Everything's running high with the whole situation. The ladies saying they're going to sit up in the suite and watch him play. That could have put pressure on his heart. Who knows? Added pressure on his shoulders. Who knows? But I'm going to give him a pass. I'm going to raise recognition, but I'm going to give him a pass, right? He played like ass. He played like Gabricio. We'll see him next week and how he responds to that. Hopefully he gets in the lab, watches some film. He improves his mechanics and gets his feet underneath him as they make a push, not for the playoffs, but just a push to get him some more reps and get him together and in motion for next season. Because if Deshaun Watson is who he's supposed to be, the Cleveland Browns can be troubled in their future with that offensive line, with that running game. Amari Cooper's looked solid through stretches this season. Donovan Peoples-Jones is coming into his own. We'll see where that takes us, though.